So I've been having a few interesting conversations this week, right? And for this video, I'm going to focus on sort of two particular conversations I've had. And what is interesting with these two particular conversations is that for me, they all fall back into the same thing that needs to be done in order to make it a effective campaign, right? Because you know me, I talk about campaign brand a lot because that lines up with your personal brand and your business brand. And like I said, for me, it's your personal brand multiplied by your business brand, multiplied by your campaign brand. That gives you that level of brand authority that makes you more visible and credible to your desired target audience in a way that will allow you to attract more leads into your business, which in turn will drive more clients and ultimately you drive more revenue for your business, right? So with these particular conversations, I'll keep them quite short, but conversation A, that conversation was more focused on a lot of people, and these are both founders, by the way, in terms of the actual conversation, just for context. So, conversation A was mainly based on a product. A lot of people are reaching out saying that they like the product, they're very much interested in the product when there's a product coming out. And conversation B was more so a conversation with a founder where they don't necessarily have a product or service, but they don't want to just be posting content aimlessly without any sort of gain from it. They don't believe in vanity metrics, and rightfully so. We do not believe in vanity metrics around here. But with that conversation, conversation A and conversation B, for me, it all led to one viable solution that will ultimately help both founders in order to ensure that they're able to effectively ensure that they have the leads generated in order to get those sales based on the product, and also being able to effectively be able to convert that attention into a system that allows you to effectively sell to prospects later down the line, right? And ultimately, it all comes down to your email list, right? Your email list. Do you have an email waiting list for your product or service, right? And that is something that is quite interesting because with that one viable solution, that helps both the founder from conversation A and the founder from conversation B in various different ways, but it still follows the same format: collect emails and collect data. It is so important for you to ensure that you're able to collect that information, to have a waiting list, to effectively ensure that these people who, and I'm going to say claim because we have to keep it real in this particular video. How many times are there people who would be looking at a product or service that you may be selling and they're saying, oh yeah, I love it, that's great, that's cool, but then when it's actually ready, when it's actually available for purchase or you're selling it in real time, it's crickets. You don't hear nothing, you don't hear anything. People are no longer interested in what you have to sell, which does seem quite confusing considering maybe a couple months ago it was all good. According to them, they wanted to purchase it. And that's why when it comes down to these things, I always say that you need to take these things at face value, what people say at face value, because ultimately, in my opinion, until money is transferred over within that process, the deal is never complete, right? But within the time frame of you building this particular product or service for your target audience, whether you have a product already or whether you don't, I don't think it matters in this particular instance. And the reason why I say that is because once you have your email list, you have an email list dedicated for people who have given you consent to say that you are allowed to email me regarding this particular product or service. You have my permission. Email me as much as you want regarding this particular product or service that you are offering, right? And if you do not get them on the wait list, then you don't know what they will be saying later down the line. You can't check their temperature, right? When you don't have the product and it seems like their temperature is high, like they're hot to buy, but later down the line, they're not interested. And it's because you haven't effectively collected that data and collected that information in a way to invite them into your ecosystem. And I talk about this a lot. You have to get people into your ecosystem so then you can then nurture them in a way that allows them to see the journey, see the growth of not just your personal brand in terms of you showcasing your journey and documenting the process of what you're doing and so on and so forth, but the business brand. What are you doing to showcase that level of building your business and having that level of credibility? Who are you working with? Who are you collaborating with? Who is there to vouch to say that they have received this particular product and this particular service and it's been absolutely amazing? These are the things that you need to bear in mind when you go through the buyer journey, right? And just because that person in question at the time said they love the product or they like what you have to offer doesn't mean they want to buy it just yet. And that's why I always advise to set up an email list where you are able to get the emails and add them to the wait list. So then you are able to effectively even see the list of numbers of people who said that they're interested. So by the time that particular product or that service is ready and good to go, you have a list of warm leads who at once said that they're interested in buying your product. And then by then, once you have them on your email list, granted you have been sending across various different emails throughout the process, they're still relatively warm. And supposedly they are not warm, right? Supposedly they get a bit cold in the process. Because they are in your email list, you can effectively get them back to the point where they were previously because they're in your list. They can start to see the journey. You can email them directly regarding your product or service, and then you can get them warm again because you're now effectively bringing them back into your ecosystem. They're involved in your ecosystem already, but you may have not been, I suppose, sending as many emails as necessary in order to keep people active. And when you don't do that, when you're not as visible, people don't remember you, right? When you're not visible, people deem that you're invisible. They can't hear from you, they can't see you. So that's why the email list is so important. And it's important in various different elements, right? When we go back to conversation A regarding the product, that will ensure that you have a list of people that when that's ready, you can then go back to sell this particular product. And based on you having that initial email list of potential buyers, you can then actually do the maths and then you can see how many people based on that initial wait list of people who effectively signed it themselves and say they're interested in updates and they're interested in purchasing. You're able to see the conversion rate from the people that was on the list to those who actually purchased the said product, right? So that gives you a good inkling based on that. And because they're within your ecosystem as well, you know that you can reach out to them directly to give them much more of your time. Ask them for testimonials, ask them for a review of the product, ask them if they want to get involved in any particular sort of campaigns that you have running towards this particular product that you're working on, right? Once you have them within the ecosystem, there's so many various ways that you can effectively utilize your email list in a way that can not only nurture, but then can grow and expand. And obviously, we know word of mouth is amazing, right? You do a fantastic job for those within your email list and you're keeping them warm. It's only going to lead to them showcasing and sharing that information with other people if they feel like they benefited from it, right? And if we go back to conversation B, that was more so a founder who does not necessarily have a product or service on offer just yet, but they understand the idea that vanity metrics are whack. There's no point. What is the whole point of developing said content and where are you driving them to? So in that given situation there, the email list is still equally as important. And the reason why is because once you have a set list of people, even though you don't have a product at the moment, even though you don't have a particular offer that you're selling, you being able to create said content and inviting them into your ecosystem is a telltale sign that they are genuinely interested in you as an individual and not just what you do within your job or within the content that you put out. And from there, there's so many different ways that you're able to nurture them in from a service perspective, right? And ultimately, I say that one of the more effective ways is to provide free value. Provide free value for that particular set of people who are interested in the things that you want, what that you do, right? And when it gets down to that stage, when you're able to develop something that is not only free, but not only has a level of value that you can't find nowhere else, you will be remembered. You will be remembered. They will naturally gravitate to you because you have provided something so valuable for them in order for them to incorporate within their own lives. They're always going to be immersed in your ecosystem and they want to know what they can do to get more support and more help, right? So, even with that, even if you don't have an offer, if you come across a opportunity where you're able to develop a masterclass or develop a sort of free tool that can help them with a particular sort of thing that they may have issues with, it's all relative to your niche and your industry and whatever it is that you do specifically. However, once you actually have an understanding of what that thing is, package it into a free offering that you can provide in exchange for their email, in exchange for their data, right? And once you're able to do that, it's a win-win. You collect their emails that allow you to nurture them over time, and they leave with something valuable that's been able to help them in, I suppose, the first sort of obstacle or the first sort of hurdle that they have within their particular sort of issue, right? Just for argument's sake, let's talk about fitness. If you're a fitness instructor and you don't necessarily have a product or offering as of yet, create a masterclass. 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops. Talk about the most effective strategies in order for you to lose weight by summer, right? Drop that video, have it as a masterclass, develop a landing page, and share it with your audience. The ones on social media that are liking your content, that are commenting on your posts, send it to them directly. Reach out to them and say, oh, thank you very much for liking this or for commenting on my post. I figured you may be interested in this. Are you happy for me to send this over to you? This is a guide that can help you get summer ready, beach body ready. And how many days until summer are you interested? They'll come back. Oh, yeah, I would love that. It's free. They give you their email as mentioned, and you give them a valuable resource that they will remember and they will utilize. So when it comes down to the time when you actually have a product, or you have an offering, or you have a service that you are then ready to showcase and share, you now have a audience, you now have an email list of people who are already warm because you already gave them free valuable advice, valuable assets that they're able to incorporate. So through that, it only makes sense where they'll be able to come back at some stage, and effectively you're able to then generate more revenue and even have an opportunity to drive clients, right? So that's it for this video. I'm going to keep this one relatively short, but the main important thing, if you are in business, if you are a founder, if you have a product or a service, it is imperative that you get an email list and you set up a wait list for any products or services that you have, that you're working towards, that's ready to go, that you're presenting a campaign ready to launch. Make sure you have your email list and make sure that you provide value in order for you to get the data that you need in order to continue to scale and to grow your business. That's it for me today, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out. Look after yourself.